Oof, all right. So I've been working in the wedding industry for almost 4 years now as a photographer and videographer. At this point, I probably documented about 100 weddings. So I've seen quite my fair share of weddings compared to the average person. And as someone who has been single for almost 9 years now, almost a decade, damn. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm someone that has never really experienced true, deep romantic love. I've only been in two relationships with the longest lasting 3 months. And so, working in an industry that is literally centered on the idea of love, you've come to learn some things about love from an observational perspective as someone who's been single for so long. So, yeah, this video is just gonna be me yapping of what I've observed about love after documenting 100 weddings. So, the first lesson that I've come to learn is that you can find love through dating apps. Listen, I know nowadays dating apps absolutely suck. While I'm sure that they were great when they first came into the scene, I feel like the level of quality has just completely plummeted. However, I wouldn't totally discount them entirely. I've documented a ton of couples' weddings now where they met through a dating app, and a lot of those couples, they were clearly a perfect match for each other. So it is possible to find love through an app. I think now it's more of a question of the probability of that happening. Regardless, I think these apps have really opened a new avenue of finding potential partners that otherwise we would have never come across in life. But let's be real, just because you match with someone doesn't mean that it's smooth sailing from there. I think the key is to really be intentional when you use a dating app. Use it just as a tool, just one way to meet someone, but not have it be the only way you meet someone. That said, just based on personal experience alone, dating apps can definitely lead to burnout. I've heard of stories of so many people deleting apps only to reinstall them weeks, months later. I'm definitely guilty of that. So yeah, dating apps aren't perfect. The majority of the weddings that I document, the couple have met outside of dating apps. But I think these apps really have reshaped how we meet people in this digital age. And for some, they've made a huge difference and they changed a lot of people's lives. Ultimately, I think if you approach it with the right mindset, knowing what you're looking for, I think you're not going to lose your sanity completely. It can still be worth a shot. And honestly, who knows? I think that next right swipe just might be the person you might end up saying I do to one day. The next lesson that I've learned is that support systems can really strengthen relationships. I think weddings often highlight just how much a couple's network influences and strengthens their relationship. You start to see how integral that their family and friends have been in their journey. I have heard so many powerful stories of a best man, a maid of honor, or a family member going above and beyond to support the couple. I can't even count the number of times where a bride's father or a best friend delivered a speech that had everyone, including me, just tearing up. It's really a reminder that relationships are never just about two people. It's also the people around them, whether it's siblings, close friends, or even coworkers. They play a crucial role. They're often the ones helping the couple weather through tough times, giving advice, and celebrating their milestones. Love really thrives when it's nurtured not only by the couple, but by their community. Even guest reactions to a couple's vows can be so powerful. I documented a wedding last year where, I kid you not, every single person in the crowd were in tears as the bride and groom shared their vows. It was like you could feel the room experiencing their love story in real time. At the end of the day, a support system isn't just a backdrop. It's often one of the strongest foundations that a couple can have to build their future on. The next lesson is that traditions can be reimagined. More and more couples nowadays aren't sticking to the rigid traditional customs. Instead, they're putting their own spin to things and making their weddings a true reflection of who they are. And honestly, that's how it should be. There's no right way to do a wedding. No rule book saying you have to do things a certain way or even have to do a certain event. You don't need to cut the cake. You don't even need to have a grand entrance or a bridal party. The day should be designed in a way that's meaningful to the couple. It's a celebration of their love and not anyone else's expectations. Over the past few years, I've seen so many cool non-traditional choices that made weddings unforgettable. I've had one couple that swapped out a usual cake cake for a tower of cheese just because they like cheese. And there was another couple where instead of cake cutting, they cut slices of pizza. And I've also had couples where they chose to get ready together instead of getting ready separately. But on the other side of that coin, that also doesn't mean you have to throw away traditions completely. I've seen couples keep certain customs but make them more personal. For example, instead of a traditional like wedding song that you would usually walk down to, I've had a bride where she entered through a piano version mashup of a bunch of Blink 182 songs, since that band had something personal meaning to the couple. So sometimes it's about blending old and new, honoring cultural or family traditions, but giving them a fresh twist that feels right for them. Ultimately, there's no one right way to do love. There's no one right way to do weddings. The most memorable wedding days that I've been to are always the ones that feel authentic, where every moment reflects who the couple truly is. Last but not least, the last lesson I've learned is that everyone's love journey is different. Every love story is unique. There's no two journeys that are ever the same. Some couples have whirlwind romances where they meet, they fall in love, and get married within a year or two. I've seen others where it takes them years, sometimes decades, to reach that same point. There's no universal timeline for love. Sometimes life circumstances play a major role in the timing. I've had one couple who met in college. They dated for a while, but eventually they went their separate ways to pursue different paths. Years later, life brought them back together and they realized that the connection that they had never truly faded. And then I've seen couples where their love stories don't follow the traditional scripts at all. I've had a couple where they lived in different states and spent most of their early relationship long distance. I've met couples where they went through challenges like career shifts, personal growth, or even family issues before finally committing. I think stories like this really make you question this whole idea that society places on us of this timeline pressure. There's so much pressure to hit milestones, find someone by a certain age, get engaged, get married, start a family, and so on. But love doesn't work on a schedule. It happens when it's meant to. Whether it takes a few months or several years, love is something that evolves on its own way and on its own schedule. What matters most is really finding that connection that's right for you. From documenting so many weddings, I've learned to just stop comparing my own journey to others. I'm 27, I haven't been in any long-term relationship yet, and I won't lie, there have been times when I have felt like I'm falling behind. I'm at that stage where a lot of my friends are already in long-term relationships. You know, they're getting engaged, they're about to get married, about to start a family, and it's so easy to feel like you're missing out or that there's something wrong with you or how you're just doing this whole love thing. But honestly, seeing how each couple story is different, it's really been eye-opening. Some of the happiest couples I've documented didn't meet their person until they were in their 30s or even their 40s. Others were in multiple failed relationships before they found their person. And it's really taught me that there is no single path to finding love. And honestly, being single has given me the time to really just focus on myself, on figuring out what I truly want, who I am, and really what kind of relationship would actually make me happy. I want to be intentional about the kind of love that I create when the time comes. I do want to find love one day, but now I'm not in a rush anymore. I've learned to just trust that the right relationship will come when it's meant to, as long as I stay open to it. In the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy this journey that I'm on right now and just keep striving to live a story worth telling.